Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of Book Summaries with Justine Mater. Our goal is to read 52 books this year that will impact our lives and businesses and just really help us become the best version of ourselves. Let's dive right into it. My second book for the year of 2023 was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And Dale's way, so the author is Dale Carnegie, Dale's way of just really bringing it into personal experiences as well as like the business scene for me was so crucial, and it impacted me in a way that I just see myself implementing it a lot. And I also noticed ways that I'm also doing it already, and that was a really big, I don't know, that was a really like eye-opening experience to be like, wow, I'm doing some of these things, but this is what it is. This is what I'm actually trying to do. And so yeah, anyways, it was really encouraging. I did get some feedback on the first video that I did in this series, and they said it was a little long, so I tried to abbreviate my summary a little bit better for you guys. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, this is geared towards people that are trying to maximize their time and their potential. And as a busy wife and mom, my goal is to grow myself in my life and business, but really hit some of the pain points real quickly for you guys through the summary, and hopefully have you walk away with something that'll benefit you. So looking at my notes, the easiest way to summarize How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's a guide to building relationships and achieving success with both personal and the professional setting. I really can't say it any other way. I feel like I've said that 3 times, but I hope that's just a reiteration of what it is. I would say the main principles of the book include, number one, I kind of did bullet points. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Just don't do it. And as a wife and mom that's stressed, that has all these different things going on in addition to a business, it's so easy to be like, oh, this is so frustrating, and complain. I find myself being drawn to that all the time. But instead, show genuine interest and empathy for others, right? It's not enabling them. It's not cutting them slack. It's just putting yourself in a place where it's not going to affect you. You don't have to take in any of the energy. Rather, you give the energy of empathy. And that for me was just like, I think the little piece I was missing. I was absorbing other people's energy, and instead I just get to give the right kind of energy, the soul energy that I already have, and I don't have to change anything I'm doing. So that's point number one. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Number two, give honest and sincere appreciation. In this world, there's a lot of superficialness. That's probably not a word, but I'm going to advocate for it to be a word. And when it comes to people like being in your sphere, you can tell when they're not genuine about stuff. And so when you can genuinely come from a good place and appreciate someone or appreciate their efforts towards something, even if it doesn't directly impact you, that's so powerful. That's just so powerful. And it's something that I've been aspiring to do in my life, in my business. Maybe it's things that don't look right for my life, but if that's what's good for them, I'm going to appreciate them for their efforts, right? I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to, support them moving towards what they believe their best version of themselves are in this or that situation. And moving on into number 3, arouse in the other person and eager to want. Like the drive, the hunger. I want to say, I think it's Les Brown that talks about you got to be hungry, right? And so when I was reading this part, the biggest thing that when you're able to ignite that hunger in someone else, that's where real moves are made. That's where real lives are impacted. And that's where, for me, empowering other moms to work from home, to not only support their families, but also grow and become better at different skills for themselves. Like that for me, oh my gosh, you guys, that's like a whole nother level. We could do a whole video on just that. But the second bullet point of that, number 3, was focused on the other person's wants and needs to help them see how fulfilling them will benefit them, right? So many times, especially for moms, and guys, maybe this is true for you too, but I'm speaking for me, our thought is that what we want is selfish, and that leads us to assuming that it's not worth it, and it will negatively impact other people if we just focus on us. And yes, I think there's a level of selfishness that can always be a challenge to discern, but there is so much good that can come from you developing yourself, growing in your skills and passions, and really really becoming that next level of yourself. And so that's again another whole video, but I wanted to bring up that point because Dale does such a good job illustrating this. And the whole point of this summary is not to save you time, but actually to encourage you to invest in your knowledge. And so if my summary helps you with that, great, but otherwise you should probably read the book too. So moving on to number 4, become genuinely interested in people. Take genuine interest in others, ask questions, and listen actively. I think the main point I want to bring out on this one in number 4 is listening actively, right? We can listen and have it go through one ear and out the other. Are we actually listening to understand? Are we listening to answer? Are we listening to invest in ourselves, right? What's the version of us that's actually paying attention here? And so many times it's easy to be like, as a fixer, that's who I am. I like to problem solve. I'll be like, oh, here's the solution. Oh, here's the solution. And sometimes some people just need to talk. And, in a lot of the work that I do as a business integrator and innovator, so many times I'm like jumping to the next thing, like, oh, I got the solution, versus I need to take everything in. Listen actively, ask questions to further understand, and make sure that I really have the full picture, and then come forward with whatever the solution, the answer, the, next step would be. And so, yeah, I have to work on this too, guys. But no, I absolutely love that part. Number 5 is super simple. Smile. The most contagious thing in the world is a smile. Second best is a laugh. But I genuinely think a smile is the best. And coming from my background in dentistry, like the first thing I notice about people is their smile. So that's a big one. And the cool thing about it is that a smile is a universal sign of friendliness, right? And when we're focusing on the first points earlier, being genuine and being personable and authentic, you can't help but have a great smile that goes along with that. There's sleazy smiles, there's smiles that mean other things. But to be authentic, to be friendly, to be genuine, like, nothing beats that. Nothing beats that. All right, next, remember a person's name. Remember a person's names. We work with so many people online. It is so hard sometimes to really conceptualize a person when it's a virtual experience. So my favorite thing to do is to not only remember the name, but make sure I find a profile picture. Make sure I find a tagline. Make sure I find something that I can attach to that person and be like, oh yeah, that's the podcast king. Oh yeah, that's the YouTuber that does, affiliates. Or, oh yeah, this was the person that I worked with that was investing into Microsoft, or whatever the case is. And that has helped me so many times to not only really imprint in me who these people are, but really have that impact on other people by being like, oh my gosh, she remembered me. And the impressions that they left, spot on. Next, be a good listener. So this is slightly repetitive of number 4. But the point of number 7, being a good listener, is actually the encouraging of others to talk about themselves. So many times people are able to answer the problems, the issues, or, actually realize different blocks and mindset issues that they have by just talking. And sometimes listening and asking the right questions is all they really need. And so as a coach, consultant, and all of those different fields that you may find yourselves in, or just being a wife and mom, and I don't say just lightly, but in whatever field you find yourself, this will be a huge asset to have in your toolbox. Next, number 8, talk in terms of other person's interests, right? So focus on the other person's interest and speak in terms that they understand and relate to, right? So I'm not going to try to speak Chinese to you when we're talking about what foods I like to cook. That's stupid unless you're actually Chinese, and then we'll go down that road and we'll be able to elaborate on that. Focus on how you can connect and be relatable with that person so that it's an initial connection that just gets stronger and stronger and stronger as you share and as you receive from them as well. That's going to be something that is just a slight mindset tweak versus being like, I know this, I should, share this with them to increase their knowledge because I am all knowing. Come from a humble state and be like, hey, this is something I know that they can relate to. Maybe put it in simple terms and explain what you're doing. Maybe bring, it in bit by bit, but don't overdo it and don't look down on people. That's not the point of this book. So next, make the other person feel important. Give the other the feeling that they are important and valued. That comes back to appreciation. And I think that we can so falsely illustrate, oh my gosh, you're so good at what you do. There's just so many ways. Tone is everything. Your face, again, that goes back to your smile. There's so much that goes with communication skills, but If you can master this, that's going to be one of the biggest tickets, is helping someone feel valued, right? Your customers, your clients, you people that you know and love, help them feel valuable in your world. And you'll see it completely transform. That one I have seen happen. And lastly, but not least, be a leader. So many times we ask ourselves, oh, I wish somebody would, kind of change this or fix this or help with that. And I'll be honest, I've become so much more of a visionary because I understand that being a leader just starts with the first step. And so it says, take initiative and be a good role model for others to follow. That's what I wrote down. And for me, being a good role model comes back to my personal life as well. I'm a mother. I'm nurturing my children. I'm going to teach them. I'm going to instruct them on the ways of the world, the ways of business. I teach them their faith, teach them how to be a good human, right? So when it comes to being a leader, they need to see me leading in the home. They need to see their father leading in the home. And they need to see me leading in business, speaking up, taking a step back and understanding my worth, knowing that it takes courage and it takes fortitude, it takes dedication, and it takes someone being hungry. Right? And so it's one of those things that being a leader can look so different. At the same time, the principles all apply. Every single one of them apply to you and to me. So anyway, these are practical and actionable steps that I think each and every one of us need in our life and business. And I probably didn't make this video any shorter than last time, so we'll be shooting to do better next time, you guys. Thanks so much for sticking around. And I'd love to know which one was one of your favorite principles to apply in your life and business today, from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Thanks so much for tuning in. Love you guys.